How did an ordinary construction worker from Poltava become a nightmare for the Wehrmacht? In that moment, Fyodor Dyachenko stopped breathing. Not physically. His heart was still beating, clenching into an icy lump of fear. He stopped making any sound that could betray his location. His white camouflage smock merged with the snowdrift. His face was frozen into the icy crust on the rifle stock. 20 meters away from him, his spotter was frozen in place, a similarly silent shadow. They had been tracking an enemy officer for 2 hours. And then he stepped out of the bunker. The bolt clicked. The front sight settled on the dark patch of his greatcoat. And at that same instant, the snow in front of Fyodor erupted with a small fountain of churned-up earth. The silence was sliced by a dry, cracking sound. It was a return shot. A German sniper had already detected them. He saw them. And now the hunt was on for the hunters themselves. Who was he? This question was asked by everyone who met Fyodor in 1942, in the Rifle Reserve Regiment. Not a soldier. So quiet, peaceful. Yesterday's plasterer from Norilsk, who could lay a smooth layer of plaster but couldn't even shout a command. They called him a SOSO soldier. When he admitted he dreamed not of a tank assault, but of a sniper rifle, they laughed at him. How could this soft fellow, whose hands created and did not destroy, become a killing machine? There was no hatred in his eyes, yet the war demanded exactly that. This was the first paradox of Fyodor Dyachenko. He went to war carrying peace within him. How did this combination not explode inside him in the first days on the Leningrad front, where the earth groaned from explosions? This was the first riddle of his path. And the first forays into the front line seemed like a mistake. Gloom, slush, endless waiting. The enemy was a phantom. Fyodor lay in the mud, aiming at emptiness, while bullets whistled past. Experienced fighters kept their tallies, a record of destroyed fascists. His was 0. A feeling of absurdity tightened his throat. He, a master whose hands could feel a millimeter of plaster, could not hit a target the size of a man. The rifle was alien, the war was alien, and this role of an avenger was alien too. It seemed those who doubted were right. But he did not give up, because somewhere out there, in that void, was the one who had brought death to his land. And anger, cold and methodical, began to accumulate where there had only been bewilderment before. The hero's path. The 3 numbers that changed everything. The path began not with a shot, but with a sharpening of the senses. A sniper is not just a shooter. He must hear the snow crunching 300 meters away, see a branch move on a windless day, feel time like his own pulse. The peaceful plasterer Fyodor began to learn to see the world anew. He studied tracks, shadows, optical illusions. His weapon became not patience, but attention. And when his first success came, it was not a triumph. It was quiet, a shot, a fall, silence, and a strange, oppressive emptiness instead of the expected satisfaction. He had crossed the line. From that day he was called not Fyodor, but Sniper Dyachenko. And then there was the rifle. Autumn 1942. He was issued a new one with a serial number. The digits gleamed in the light. 220. Fyodor looked silently at them, then at the gray sky of the Leningrad front. "Ah, I wish I could take down that many fascists," he said quietly, not believing the number himself. 220 lives? It seemed impossible. But that number became a code, a program, a goal. He began to keep his tally methodically, like an accountant of death. September 29, 1942, 6 shots, 6 targets hit. A month later, his tally was already 96 soldiers and officers of the Wehrmacht. Fame of the sharp-eyed Dyachenko spread across the entire front. The Germans feared him. His own men admired him. He was simply doing his job, turning the abstract number 220 into a terrifying reality. And here is born that very viral image that will remain in memory forever. Imagine snowdrifts near Leningrad. Bitter frost that makes steel grow cold. And in a snowdrift, a man. He doesn't move for hours. His fingers freeze to the metal of the rifle. To take a shot, he must tear his skin from the stock. Every breath turns into a cloud of steam that could betray him. He is not a man, he is part of the landscape. A living, hate-breathing part of the land he is defending. This image, the sniper frozen into the snow, speaks better than any words about the price of his skill. This is not romance. This is soul-chilling horror and the greatest willpower, fused into one. Climax, the double hunt. Let's return to that fateful day in the snow-filled trenches. 2 snipers, 1 German, 1 Soviet. Between them, 20 meters of death. The German sniper's shot was a warning. I see you. Your turn. Classic duel. In such duels, there is no place for fear. Fear is the betrayal of the body, trembling hands, ragged breathing. Fear is death. Fyodor pressed himself to the ground. His eyes caught the slightest movement. His spotter didn't move. His mind worked with cold clarity. Where was he? Where did the shot come from? The spray of snow. The trajectory. He mentally drew a line. A bush? No. The ruins of a bunker? Possibly. But something was wrong. The German sniper was a professional. He wouldn't fire a second time from the same position. That meant he had already moved. That meant he was waiting for Fyodor to give himself away with a return shot into emptiness. This was a game of silent psychology. 1 minute, 2, 5. The cold shackled his body. But his mind burned. And then Fyodor saw it. Not a movement. A difference. Against the background of the shrapnel-scarred parapet lay a piece of burlap. It hadn't been there an hour ago. It was slightly darker, lying slightly differently. This was not an object. This was a trap. Bait. The real sniper was sitting somewhere else, watching exactly this spot, waiting for a shot. Slowly, millimeter by millimeter, Fyodor shifted the barrel. His gaze scanned everything around that bait. And there, in a shell crater, a barely noticeable stub of a periscope pipe. He was aiming not at the bait. He was aiming into the darkness behind that pipe. Time stopped. An exhale. A hold. A smooth squeeze. The roar of the shot deafened the world. The echo rolled across the field. No return shot came from the crater. Only silence. Long, all-consuming silence that meant more than any cries of victory. This was not jubilation. This was devastation. He had won this duel, adding another notch to his tally. But was it a tally? Or was it a wound on his own soul? The number 425 is not a reason for pride. It is a sentence. A sentence he had passed on himself, day after day, doing his terrible work. The rifle with the number 220 and the price of silence. In December 1942, in the dank winter, Fyodor Dyachenko opened his sniper's logbook. He summed up the total. The numbers in black ink lay on the paper. 220 destroyed enemy soldiers and officers. He looked at the number on his rifle. That same number, 220. The prophecy had come true. Not mysticism. Not luck. Iron will. Later came more battles, a wound in 1944, the Order of Hero of the Soviet Union. The final number, **** 425****. But what lies behind these numbers? The story of Fyodor Dyachenko is not a story about a natural-born killer. It is a story about transformation. The war did not awaken a beast in him. It forced a peaceful man to apply his main talents, patience, attention to detail, the ability to feel the material, be it the body of plaster or the soul of an enemy, in the most monstrous conditions. He did not become someone else. He became a hyperbolized version of himself. A perfect, deadly master of his craft. His weapon was not hatred but absolute chilling discipline. Hadith burns out. Discipline remains. The final philosophical conclusion lies in this contradiction. The greatest sniper, a nightmare for an entire army, was, in essence, a creator placed in conditions where the only possible act of creation was destruction. He defended life by taking it away. He peered into the face of the enemy through his scope so that no one else could peer into the faces of his compatriots with hatred. His feat is not a monument to war. It is a reminder of its absurd, unbearable price, measured not only in thousands of bullets but also in the silence that remains within a person after each shot. We admire his fortitude, but the true story of Fyodor Dyachenko forces us to ask one question. What strength of spirit is needed, after doing such things, to remain a human being? The answer lies in his post-war life, his service, the passing on of his experience. He carried that burden to the end, and in that lies his main, invisible victory.